Alright, in this video we're going to go over printing reports, test sheets, data sheets. Working from the tree view, which is what you initially work in, and it's most commonly used to get quick access to an individual valve. I'm going to show you how to access the report feature. Now you could do any type of searching that you want to get down to the valve, but for our example here we're going to use the same valve we worked on before. I've explained that by clicking up here you're actually clicking on the valve history for the whole valve. You actually need to concentrate on an individual event, in which this case only has one event. Once we've highlighted that event, we want to get a test report or a data sheet for that event. We're going to go up to the reports button and choose from the drop down menu. Now we have a few options. We have the data sheet, and this is what we have as our default report, and it will not necessarily be applicable to what you're looking at as far as the data for the valve. For example, let's say the data sheet by default is our repair report. Okay, on our repair report we're going to have a lot more detail than on a new valve report because it's got a lot of stuff like parts that had to be examined and information has to be captured for it. On a new valve we don't need to know that because they're all brand new parts. So a data sheet might not get you the specificity that you need in generating your report. You do have the option of generating not only the data sheet but also images and any generic attachments all as an export, and this will generate a zip file with those things within inside. Okay, then you have all reports, which is going to give you a list of the variation of reports that we have to offer, so you could definitely specify whether you want a new report or a repair report. And then of course you can do just an image report, so if there are images that relate to a certain valve and you wanted to see all those images in a report format that you could print out and look at in relation to what was wrong inside, then you could just print just the image report. For our test purposes here, we're going to click all reports and we're going to look for our repair report. Now inside of here you have C and K for Chalmers and Kubek, PRV repair report. By clicking on that, I can go over here and click generate because I've only got that one valve I've looked at here, and it kind of tells you what you were selecting, and I could generate an individual report. I will go ahead and do that so you can see what one looks like. It will, by clicking this button, it will take that data and generate a PDF that will be downloaded to your computer. As you can see pop up on the left here, here's that PDF. Inside the report, because this is a repair report, we have a two-page report with all the basic information related to that valve. Similar to the stuff in the details view, you can see the work requested versus final configuration, serial number, set pressures, and all those type of things here, the as found versus any previous repairs, any pretest data, all the final QC information, critical dimension measurements, etc. All the data based on the assembly and testing will be here. And on the second page, I'm going to get a big detailed breakdown of all the different parts, the conditions that were found in, and any work that would have been done, whether it had been lapped, reused, or replaced here. And if I had a part that was recommended to be replaced next time, for example, you would see that recommendation show up here on the second page. So this is the kind of details you're going to get out of the reports, which you're probably familiar with already. And to do that, it would be as simple as clicking on that and coming over here and hit generate. Now this was done from within the valve tree. And if you're doing an individual report, this is fine. It's usually the quickest and easiest way because this is where you're logged into when you come into VK Viewer. But let's say I wanted to do a group of valves. Then I find that the easiest way to do that is to go over to the repair list section, because here I can get a grid of parts and I can do the filtering that I'm looking for. For example, I only want to get the steam seal valves, so I'll click on this to start filtering down, and I've got these steam seal. Now I've got this auxiliary steam. That's not what I'm looking for, but it's okay because I've gotten it clean enough to work with. Okay, so by doing that I could just go out and get all those 4 steam valves. Now to get more than one, I would come up to the left and select the individual valves that I want. So I got number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 down here. By selecting all these valves and then going to my report feature, I get a different set of options. So in this group, for this view, the reports option is on the left, but you're going to see an identical menu. I'm going to choose all reports. And instead of just seeing, let me click on the repair report, instead of just seeing that one valve that I selected, I see a couple options. Now I had a grid which had 54 different valves. I could choose to print a report that would include every valve in the grid. Or I could get only the number 4, which happened to be the last one I clicked, or, which what I'm looking for and which is highlighted here, I can get the selected entries, which are 4 different selected entries, and that's what I'm looking for. So for that, I could click generate, and what it'll do is instead of giving me an individual report, it'll create one PDF, but it'll be a combined PDF of all 4 reports. So since each report had 2 pages and I did 4 different valves, I should have an 8-page report. Now I'm going to click this and open this file, and you can see 1 of 8 here. I've got page 1 of the first valve, and you can see it here, number 1 steam seal is the tag number, and page 2, number 1 steam seal again. The next one's going to be number 2, page 1, etc., all the way through. So it combines them all into one clean, easy to use PDF. Now you may have gotten copies of these reports with your valves, but you want to send copies of these to someone else within your organization, and instead of having to manually scan all your stuff in, it's a lot easier to come in here, let VK generate the digital copy that you need, and you can either send it on, or some customers do, you can store a digital copy in a digital file system somewhere in your backup devices. So this is the 2 different ways that you can get your reports. One more thing I'll point out is inside of this grid system you do have one more option, which is grid report. That's identical to the same option you got when you hit all reports, and you can just choose everything within the grid. If you're going to do that, it is important to make sure that you properly filter the grid to get exactly what you want. In this case, for example, I was looking for those 4 steam seals, but I actually have 6 different pages of 10 results per page, so I have a lot more valves than I need. I would have to go back and clean that grid up by just doing that steam filter, getting it down, and then going, okay, well, I don't want this auxiliary, so let me go a little further and start typing seal, and then it should filter that last one out and give me the grid that I'm looking for. So with these 4, I could do the grid report and get the exact same result, but just know the differentiation between the 2. So that's how you print all your reports from both different valve tree and repair list views, and the differentiation between the types of reports.